This is warm up 5, part 2. This is again evaluating what we were doing yesterday, but it's not with equations, it's with expressions, so it's a little bit more complicated. There's a couple of examples that are going to show up that definitely show up when we hit the assessments that we're going to get as well. So definitely on this one, pause the video, try them, but when you unpause the video, I will work out these problems step by step because it's the first time that you will have seen them. Okay, so the two problems that we're working with, there's only two. So I'll write them A and B, but if you mess up, you can kind of come down here when I go through them and you can do them again. Okay, so A is parentheses x minus 4 parentheses squared divided by 8. And I want you to evaluate that if x equals 2. Okay, when x equals 2. Letter B, the second expression is 3 minus the parenthesis of 6x plus 8 when x is negative 4. Okay, those are the two problems. Now let me work a problem out for you so you can kind of know what's happening, what's going on here. So here's my example. 2x minus 4 parenthesis, so that's times 3 minus x squared. And that's when x is 5. So what we're doing when we evaluate is we're taking the number 5 and we're replacing the x. So this is 2 times x, so I'm going to do 2 times 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. So we're going to start there. 10 minus 4 parentheses 3 minus, okay, stop here, that's x, but x is the number 5. So we're going to go 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. Okay, now my order of operations kicks in. Please, for parentheses, has to come first. So this piece has to come first. Okay, I'm going to do 3 minus 25. Which is negative 22. That's what I'm going to write in place of that parenthesis part. Okay, I'm going to keep it in parentheses because it's negative. But then the rest of this just gets written in front. 10 minus 4. And sometimes we forget, so I'm going to write times. Sometimes we forget that in between the parenthesis and the number is a times, so I'm just going to write it here to remind myself. And then this is subtraction. So please excuse, I don't have any exponents. I already took care of my exponents up here. Excuse my dear. Is there any multiplication or division in this problem? Yes, there's a multiplication right here. So that has to happen next. Now, when I do this multiplication, it is a negative 4. This negative sign is tied to the number 4. So negative 4 times negative 22 is 88. Now when I write that number down, is it a positive 88 or a negative? If it's negative, I'd write minus. If it's positive, I write plus. And since it's positive, we'll keep it plus. And then the 10 is going to come down here. Now I do my addition and subtraction. That's at the very end. So 98 is my answer. Okay, here's where you would pause the video to try this by yourself. But if you get to the point where you're frustrated or if you get to the point where you're not sure, you can always continue the video and see me work out A and B. Okay, hopefully that was enough time if you were trying to pause it. So we're going to go ahead and plug in the number 2 for the x. So we're going to do 2 minus 4, and I'm just going to copy the rest. Okay, I put it in, put that number in, and parentheses needs to go first. Inside my parentheses, it says 2 minus 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Same thing as I did over here. Because it's a negative number, I'm going to keep it in parentheses. Negative 2. That's the answer when I do this. There's still a little 2 on the outside because I haven't done that yet. And then divided by 8. Are there any exponents that I haven't dealt with? Yeah, that's this part right here. This happens all the time. If you don't type this in correctly into your calculator, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, now I said every time we have that negative number there, we've got to do parentheses. So the parentheses has to go in your calculator as well. So parentheses, negative 2, parenthesis, now hit that x squared button. And now if you're not sure where that's at, it's right diagonally from the 7, right here. So squared. Okay, negative 2 squared is the number positive 4. And we get a little bit excited here because 8 and 4, well, that has to be 2, right? Again, if I type it in, it's not 2, it's 1/2. Because you're taking $4 and you're splitting that $4 amongst 8 people. So that's 0.5. So here we did our division, and we didn't have any addition and subtraction to do. Plugging in the second one for B. Again, pause the video if you need to. So I'm going to plug in this negative 4. So we're going to take 3 and we're going to subtract whatever I happen to get inside these parentheses. The first thing inside the parenthesis I'm going to do is 6 times negative 4. I'm going to take 6 and multiply it by negative 4 because that's inside the parenthesis, the first thing I have to do. That's negative 24. That's still inside the parentheses. And now inside the parentheses, I'm still working on my P for parentheses. I still have parentheses. I'm still working inside of there. So I'll go ahead and do this addition. Negative 24 plus 8. I want to make sure I get the right answer, so I'll type that in, which is negative 16. Now, again, that number was negative. So because the answer I got was negative, I'm going to keep those parentheses around it just to keep it safe. Keep that negative with that number. Now here, I still have this, and I still have the 3. Again, just to be safe, type that in your calculator and see what happens. But if you already know this, minus a negative is the same thing as plus. So really what we're doing is adding these two numbers together. So you might be a little bit taken aback when you see the answer, if you're not thinking about minus a negative. The answer is 19. Okay, and there's your second half of warm-up 5.